Hi, my name is Bill McCamley. I'm a state representative from southern New Mexico, and I'd like to openly address the comments made last weekend by Mr. Donald Trump, who's a presidential candidate in the Republican Party. Sir, you really made me angry, and though my last name is McCamley, which is pretty Irish, and not Martinez, Benavides, Garcia, or another Mexican name, it really struck me personally, and here's why. The things that you said about Mexicans, back in the 1800s, there were a lot of people saying the same things about the Irish. And let's give some examples. A couple of days ago, you said, when Mexico sends its people, they are not sending their best. They are bringing drugs and crime, and they're rapists. It's funny because in Harper's Weekly in 1860, they said 75% of the crimes of violence committed among us are the work of Irishmen, and that the system of self-government has fallen into discredit through the incapacity of the Irish for self-government. Now, we have some public health issues here in our area, but probably not more than anybody else, even though we're only about 30 miles from the border. But you said a couple of days ago, tremendous infectious disease is pouring across our border, and that the United States has become a dumping ground for Mexico. Well, back in 1832, a guy named Philip Hone, who was the mayor of New York, said the Irish have brought the cholera this year, and they will always bring wretchedness and want. And a few days ago, when you were in Arizona, you talked about the Mexicans taking our jobs. They're killing us at the border, you said. They're taking our jobs. Well, it's funny because back in the 1800s, there were so many signs that said no Irish need apply because people were worried about Irish taking jobs away from people here, that they actually wrote a song about it, which you can find on YouTube. The long and short of this, sir, is that if people like you were elected president and into governmental offices back in the 1800s, I wouldn't be here. And neither would have my father, who served 25 years in the US Army, did 2 tours in Vietnam. Now, you may wonder why I'm standing here in the middle of a farm field. This is my district in between the towns of Mesilla and Las Cruces. And right over there are all those people that you're talking about. Those people that you say are drug dealers, murderers, and rapists. They're out there in the 100-degree heat, picking onions to put food on your table and to contribute to our local economy. Because every time, even though many of them are undocumented, they buy something, they pay taxes here. Now the really sad part is that they would be paying income taxes if reform efforts by people as diverse as Barack Obama or George W. Bush or John McCain or Ted Kennedy would have passed. Unfortunately, people like you stopped those efforts, which is really sad. You say that there's so much crime. Well, San Antonio and San Diego and Phoenix, all heavy immigrant communities, actually have lower property and violent crime than many other places in the United States. And Rupert Murdoch, who's not what I would call a paragon of progressive ideology, actually came out yesterday and told you how wrong you were about crime. And he mentioned El Paso, Texas, about 30 miles that way, right on the border. You know, they have the lowest murder rate of any town in the United States, over 500,000 people, which shows how wrong you are. Mexican immigrants are not all rapists and drug dealers, criminals. A few are, but most aren't. Most Mexican immigrants and their kids in my community, they're teachers, they're cops, they're soldiers, they're business people, and a lot of them are my friends. And now for my last part, and I hate to mention this, but you are being a hypocrite. Hypocrisy is basically saying, do as I say and not what I do. And you talk about how immigrants from countries that have a lot of illegal activity are bad for our nation. Well, a couple of years ago, there was an Italian mobster. He was captured in Italy. His name was Maurizio Prestieri, and he described a country called Slovenia. He called it a mafia paradise, and basically said that all the governmental institutions were bought off by the mafia, and that's where everybody went. They could have their friends over, they could show their own names because no one went after them. And you may be wondering why I'm mentioning a country called Slovenia. Well, sir, your wife, Melania, she's from Slovenia. So it seems a little bit hypocritical for you to say, oh, there's a country with a bunch of bad things and we shouldn't let anybody in, when presumably the woman you love and someone you have a kid with is from there. So in closing, Mr. Trump, look, I know you don't have a really high self-esteem. You just want to do anything to see yourself on TV, but you're from New York. All I would ask is that you go down to the harbor and just take a real small look in the water. You'll see an island. On that island is a statue of a woman. She's standing there with a flame and a book, and it's the Statue of Liberty. you know, one of the symbols of American freedom and liberty. And on that book is written a quote. It's about immigrants, and it's about America. And it says, "Give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free." This country was built off of people who want to come here. They want to make their lives better, earn some money, pay their taxes, and play by the rules. Those guys over there, the fact is they're a lot less likely to have any problems, because if they do anything with the law, they're going to get caught and sent back, and they don't want that. They came here to make their lives better. So go down to that harbor, Mr. Trump, take a look, and hopefully change your opinion, and we can all have better policy in our country. Thanks a lot.